ASPDO2 Performance Analysis by Morrish. This performance analysis. The aim of this analysis is to provide a detailed performance analysis of Mike Tyson's performance in his 29th bout against James Smith, particularly his strategy and why it changed during the course of the match. The protocol. The process taken throughout this analysis was to first choose a sport and match, which in this case is Mike Tyson versus James Smith, then watch the match all the way through, highlighting key aspects of the game and consider which key performance indicators, KPIs, to use for the purpose of the analysis. Footage of the match was uploaded to provide an analysis software called GameBreaker. Design the code buttons and begin coding the full footage until all data has been collected. Export all of the data to a Microsoft Excel file to be able to begin building graphs and carry out intra and inter-reliability checks. Then with all the data collated, begin building a PowerPoint which expresses the findings in the data, providing a full analysis of the match. Once this has been done, provide an element of coaching recommendations at the end. Introduction to Notational and Performance Analysis. Notational analysis is conducted to analyze an athlete's performance. With the use of video analysis, notational analysis provides carefully managed data which can be counted on to be effective and reliable for athletes and coaches to build on. It's used to focus primarily on movements and movement patterns which are related to strategies and tactics. A good example of notational analysis would be how an analyzer would look at a boxer's ability to dominate key areas of the ring. Mike Tyson, for example, liked to have central control of the ring because he was an offensive fighter. Performance analysis will look into specific movements known as performance indicators, such as a traditional jab in boxing. Identifying performance indicators and presenting them as sets of data will enable coaches and athletes to see strengths and weaknesses within an athlete's performance and provide training guidelines to be followed for technical and tactical improvements. Key performance indicators. KPIs reflect relevant aspects of an athlete's performance. These aspects can be considered by one of the following: technical, an ability to perform a skill successfully. A boxer, for example, successfully completing a headshot. Tactical, ability to perform a skill successfully whilst intentionally taking control of a situation and play out a strategy. A boxer against a much taller opponent may attempt to stay within their guard to avoid any large punches. Psychological, this could be a state of mind. A boxer could enter a match with confidence, which will increase their chances of winning, providing they don't suffer from overconfidence. Physical, an ability to control the direction of a match. A boxer could increase their level of intensity by increasing their number of punches per round during a match, which in turn will increase the intensity of their opponent. Key performance indicators typically chosen in boxing are quite well ranged. 5 standard boxing performance indicators could include the jab, lead hook, lead uppercut, and rear uppercut. Key performance indicators chosen for this analysis. The KPIs are demonstrated in the slide of each video. Defensive punch. This is a technical KPI as it requires Mike Tyson to perform a known skill successfully. This is considered a defensive set of punches due to Tyson being forced onto the back foot whilst delivering punches. Furthermore, his stance changes slightly as his dominant foot becomes his non-dominant foot, leaving him vulnerable to an offensive attack from his opponent. An aggressive jab. The aggressive jab performed by Tyson demonstrates an ability to throw a punch and shift his body forward in sequential order to allow one of 3 things to happen. 1. Get within James Smith's guard. 2. Create an opportunity to use his right hand for a combination of punches. Or 3. Avoid any counter punches from his opponent. This is a tactical KPI. Jab. This is a technical KPI because unlike the aggressive jab, Mike Tyson uses this skill to score points or keep his opponent distant. Getting in close. This is a tactical KPI because Mike Tyson is a short fighter against a tall opponent, with a much larger reach, and wants to get within his opponent's guard so he can avoid letting his opponent extend his arms in a punch which will provide maximal power. In James's guard, Mike will be able to deliver effective body and head punches, whereas James won't due to it being an uncomfortable position for him. Attempted punches. This is a technical skill and resulting quantitative set of data where the data can be compared with KPIs to demonstrate the validity in this analysis. Aggressive right punches. This is a tactical skill because Mike Tyson is a well-known fighter to knock out his opponents. Before stepping into the ring for this match, he had won 28 fights, 26 of which were ended with him knocking out his opponent. This skill could be a hook, uppercut, straight right. GameBreaker software. This slide contains screenshots of the data analysis being used in the GameBreaker software. The code buttons were used to press whenever Tyson performed any of his sets of KPIs during the match. When pressed, the data will be recorded on the timeline as a marker, ready to be gathered and exported to Microsoft Excel. A quantitative method was used to collect the data for this analysis. Microsoft Excel data file. Figure 1 represents the raw data of the KPIs chosen to analyze Tyson's match. The limitations of this match meant that round 5 of this match was missing from the file and was unable to be found. Round 7 has been identified as a point of perturbation. The data surrounding this point in the match indicates a critical moment occurred at this point. A point of perturbation is a non-linear transition from one stable state to another. Perturbation. Figure 3 of this slide suggests that at round 6, Tyson was beginning to show signs of fatigue. This is stated because his aggressive right punches dropped drastically from 11 in the first round to 2 in the 6th, suggesting he did not have any energy to perform high power movements like he did in the first 4 rounds. This theory is also supported due to the amount of clinch work Tyson had to fight against due to his opponent's strategy throughout the match. As a result of fatigue, Tyson was not able to perform his getting in close KPI at the same rate as he was in rounds 1, 2 and 3. And began to show an overall decrease in this KPI from rounds 3 to 6. However, during the first minute of the 7th round, Tyson was able to knock his opponent off balance with a left hook and then tried to knock him out with an aggressive right hand, which is demonstrated in video of this slide. At this point in the match, Tyson began to increase in intensity in his getting in close KPI. This is evident in figure 2 because from round 6 to round 7, his getting in close KPI increased by 1, and then again in round 8 and 9 by 1 more, reaching a continuous rate for 2 rounds. This information suggests that Tyson was looking to create an opportunity to knock out his opponent. We know this because Tyson did not have the energy to expend, as well indicated in figure 3, to continuously throw aggressive right punches. Other KPIs which showed an increase in this round was his jabs, aggressive jabs and overall attempted punches. Round 7 acted as a stimulus for Tyson to do whatever he could to take advantage of his opponent's vulnerable state. Strategy. Mike Tyson's strategy in this match began with him trying to knock out his opponent in the first 4 rounds. This is first indicated when looking at the competitor's statistics before the fight, displayed in figure 6. Tyson's statistics state that his previous 28 fights have all been successful, and during the video it was mentioned that 26 of those fights resulted in knockouts, which suggests that Tyson entered this fight confident that he would try to continue that trend. Furthermore, his height compared with his opponent meant that Tyson didn't have the reach to be a defensive fighter during the match, but rather an offensive fighter throughout, which is well supported when looking at figure 4 because, as you can see, Tyson only performed 3 defensive punches in the entire match, which occurred in the first round. This is all confirmed in the first 4 rounds of the fight because, as you can see in figure 4, his aggressive right punches are high, whereas his jab and aggressive jabs are very minimal. This data proposes that Tyson wasn't looking to perform any combination movements, but rather aggressive right punches to the head of his opponent to knock him out. This match went the full 12 rounds, which proves that Tyson's original strategy didn't work, and by the end of the 4th round, his strategy changed. This is indicated by looking at the transition of quantities between his aggressive right punches and aggressive jabs in figure 5. This graph displays Tyson's aggressive jabs beginning to increase in quantities from 1 jab thrown in the 2nd round to 17 in the 12th. Whilst his aggressive right punches decreased to a minimal amount from 11 in the 1st round to 3 in the 12th. These results suggest that Tyson was no longer looking to knock out his opponent, but rather score points and wait out the final rounds of the match. Reliability. The data provided in this analysis was tested to see how reliable it was with the use of an interreliability method. The data from the timeline was exported to a Microsoft Excel file where it could be checked and then presented in figure 7. This reliability test method consists of one operator as he analyzes the same performance twice. Figure 7 shows how the interreliability test scored an overall 96% reliability, indicating a successful gathering of data. Coaching recommendations. As a coaching recommendation, Mike Tyson would need to plan on reserving his energy for later rounds when up against opponents who would be as prepared as James Smith. He wasted a lot of energy in rounds 1 to 4 due to James Smith having the energy to defend against his offensive attack. If Tyson had the same ferocity in the later rounds as he did in the first 4 rounds, his chances of knocking out his opponent would have been a lot higher, effectively achieving the same strategy as before, but at a slower rate. The conclusion. To conclude this analysis, Mike Tyson's performance was a success due to him winning the match. However, this match could have been shorter if he followed a different strategy. His strategy was the same as always and easily predictable, therefore allowing his opponent to have a greater chance of beating him.